mix it up with the timing of the live stream. It's Friday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern. Hope you're having a great end of your week. We got a beer. We've got homegrown local sage. And we're going to talk about charts and technical analysis. Feel free to ask any questions. This is more of a laid-back stream. I'll take requests for altcoins. I'm going to show you how I screwed up a Ripple trade. And we'll see what we're expecting into next week. All right. Let's go. So Bitcoin on the daily time frame, we've been going sideways. Remember we had our little mini sucker punch on Bitcoin where we dropped fairly fast. A little bit of liquidations was going on there. And we've been trading within the range of that one candle for the last week, 7 days in a row now, 8 days. And I'm expecting that it could continue a bit further. And what I'm looking for, what you'll often see happen is equilibriums are a series of higher lows and lower highs, constricting range, declining volume. It's the most common pattern in markets across all time frames. And so you'll often see on one time frame an equilibrium will break, but if there's a lack of follow through, you then zoom out and it's just an equilibrium on a longer term time frame. For example, there will often be a 5-minute equilibrium on the morning trading stocks. It breaks bull, but we don't break the high of the day. Zoom out and look for then a 15-minute equilibrium. And so this essentially, Bitcoin on the daily time frame was an equilibrium, lower high, higher low. We broke bull with no follow through, and I'm watching for the possibility. Zoom out to the 2-day time frame. And if we fail the high here, we're just going to look for a 2-day tightening range. And again, there's no red flags at this point. Have the bears proven anything on this chart? And the answer is no, not at all at this point. And so the most important short-term support for me is this base at 94,000. And on the live stream, when did I live stream last Monday? Talking about how the daily higher low was the most likely scenario because we anticipated that an equilibrium was going to form, because after you see a significant amount of volatility in both directions, you scout that equilibrium. And we use our fib retracements to help us determine most likely scenario. You got your notepad next to your computer, right? Write down chart guys Fibonacci, Google that, watch that video. That video will tell you how you determine most likely scenarios based on retracement sizes. And as soon as Bitcoin saw this bounce of 50% plus retracement, equilibrium then became the most likely scenario. Learn those Fibonacci's. They help you with flags, bull flags, bear flags. They help you with equilibriums. It's definitely an important one to be learning. Now, if we're going to see a 2-day lower high set and tighten up, the bears must break this base of support in the 99,000s here. 99.2. If 99.2 breaks, we say, all right, 2-day equilibrium through the weekend is likely. If that level holds, the 12-hour is a potential bull flag. So long story short, with where we stand right now, the bulls are comfortable because best case, we see a new all-time high, and worst case, we just look to tighten up into the start of next week. As far as the most likely scenarios. The least likely scenario would be over the weekend, we just drop and break 92,000 or 94,000. That's the less likely scenario. So if we break 104, I then look at psychological levels for targets. I'll be looking to 110 as the next level. Some people do, Elliott waves. Some people do fib extensions. But once we're in blue sky breakout, I look for psychological levels to be targets. The most important question that I have in the cryptocurrency space to end the year, as we've got 2 weeks left, 2 weeks and change, is does the dominance chart confirm the weekly downtrend to tell us, yes, it is alt season? The last time we've seen a weekly downtrend confirm convincingly, it's been many, many months. So again, when you hold, remember this weekly EMA 12, it held for 6 months. And you hold it as support, and now it is back testing and trying to act as resistance. So if we drop down and confirm that weekly downtrend, it means the altcoins are likely confirming the weekly bull flags after the consolidation that we just saw in alts. We essentially had Bitcoin with a bit of a sucker punch flush down to 92,000. This is what I mean by that sucker punch, and then your V shape. And then alts had a sucker punch a bit later. And the alts drop was a bit more significant, as would be expected. So keep an eye on that dominance, because if you are trading the altcoins, you want to see that break bear. Make a checklist. Things that I need to see to remain full steam ahead, bullish. And that's at the top of the list. ETH. So the resistance here is extremely clear. And again, in the last live stream on Monday, I talked about if you're going to look for a hedge, this is where you do it. This is where you short. And I called it, what did I call it? You're buying insurance. You know, if I short at 4,000 and I put a stop at 4101, I will pay $100 of missed gains to protect my position. And then if we drop hard, as we did on Monday, you sell a third of that position, and now you have a risk-free hedge above the recent high. And again, that's a bit more advanced trading, but that is what I've been doing all year in the stock market. Not all year, but often. So again, if Bitcoin's going to keep tightening up, then we're going to look for ETH to fail 4,000 here and then just form an equilibrium. Solid pullback, 50% plus bounce retracement means we scout a higher low if we pull back from here. And the most important support is this base. Just like Bitcoin in the 99s, ETH is 38.36. If that level breaks, daily lower high set, and we then tighten up. What an aggressive bull will do there is look to add off of this recent low. If the bulls are going to maintain complete control, 3,500 needs to hold as a base of support. So if we pull back on the daily and I make an entry at 3,700, and I say, okay, I think we're going to get another leg up. Again, only an aggressive bull would be looking to add here, but it's a potential possibility. I did the same thing with Tesla today. Tesla Blue Sky Bull, 5-minute time frame, end of the day. I have a swing position that's been going great all week, and I was looking for an end of the day run, and I added a 5-minute higher low here. I sold a tiny bit into the bounce, and I stopped out break even. So I put myself in a position to go more aggressive, knowing the bulls had favor, and I did get that end of the day move a little bit there, but I put myself in a position to benefit aggressively. Didn't work out, stop out break even, that's fine. So ETH, you know, if you buy at 37 and you sell a third at 38.50, and then you put your stop under the low at that point, it's a way to try and increase your position size and increase your aggressive levels for very low risk. And one of the things, you know, if you ask me, what are the top 2 things you're trying to improve upon as a trader? It's been swing trading over the last few years, and it's also adding to winners. And so looking for spots to average up and add to winners, because as humans, our brain tells us the opposite. You add when you're in the red and averaging down. That means the trade's going against you. So yeah, I guess it's just another example, an aspect of trading where you have to rewire your brain to do the opposite of what its instincts are. And that's so much of what trading is. At least in the first few years, you're just rewiring your brain. Look up. Chart guys. Cheat code. Did a video talking about how cannabis and psilocybin, secret tool for trading success. Cannabis and psilocybin have benefited me as a trader, one of those aspects being rewiring my brain with the help of psilocybin. Check it out. It's Friday night. We're talking about illegal stuff. All right, ETH BTC. We've got to break this double top. That is key. Look at the weekly time frame. We're in a weekly downtrend. Nice bounce, but just a weekly lower high still. We must break that double top if ETH is going to make a run to all-time highs. It's a potential inverse head and shoulders. Go to the 2-day time frame. It's not much of a right shoulder at this point, but gotta get over that level. My long-term no-touch ETH from 2017. Man, it's been a tough one. Holding that. Saying, should have switched that for Bitcoin a long time ago. Need that all-time high in ETH to feel better about that bag. XRP. So let's talk about how I screwed up here. Well, I guess screwed up's one way to refer to it. So XRP, daily downtrend confirmed, tells us weekly consolidation is underway. We know that altcoins are looking for weekly higher lows. We've been saying weekly consolidation is inevitable. When it happens, weekly higher lows are going to be the best swing entries that we've had in a while. And again, tons of people, if you're looking at a chart like this and you get liquidated just from weekly consolidation, you're doing something very wrong. You have to anticipate that weekly consolidation is going to come after going hundreds of %. Anyways, at this point, again, use our fib retracements. Fib retracement from the low. Is this a bull flag? Possible, yes. Anything 382 or greater favors a bull flag. Anything 50% or more favors an equilibrium. So this is a potential weekly bull flag. I made an entry. We had the strongest names, 4-hour oversold conditions marked the lows or right around then. And we know that if bulls are going to remain their strongest, we know hourly oversold marks daily higher lows, the back burners in our uptrend. 4-hour oversold marks weekly higher lows. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Some names had great 4-hour oversold signals. Some names did not. We'll talk about what differentiates the two. But XRP. So this is the difference between, this is progression as a trader. 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21. I'm in aggressive mode. I'm on the computer 16 hours a day. In 2017, I'm waking up every 2 hours in the middle of the night, setting my alarm so I can check in on the charts, position, and trade. And, make sure I'm not missing anything, knowing that that was a significant opportunity that I wanted to take advantage of. If I were so I entered XRP on the break of $2. I love when you're in oversold conditions and you break a psychological level to play a bounce. That's often, people put their stop at $5.99 or $1.99 and they stop out when $2 breaks. And I like to buy right when $2 breaks. And that's what I did on XRP here. And again, there's so many examples of that, but I've got examples on the top of my brain here. But Tesla did it earlier this week at 400, and RGTI did it at $6. But I used to, earlier in the first half of my career, I would put my buy just above a psychological level, because my mindset was, okay, there's a bunch of bid support on the psychological level. I want to cut in line and go in front of that bid support and know that it's got my back supporting me. I find far more often than not, it's the flush that then marks that buy. So that's what I did on XRP. Break $2, market buy. Then I sell a third in the 220s on this initial bounce. And so then this is me not wanting to trade anymore and not wanting to be on the computer and going about my life and saying, okay, I'm in conservative mode as a trader the last few years with the number one priority of do not give back the gains that I have over the last decade. Priority number 2, add icing on the cake. Make some more gains, make some more money. But capital preservation is my number one priority. Back in aggressive mode in 2017, number one priority was make as much money as you possibly can in this bull market environment that is not going to last. And so to do that, you have to risk more. If I had given, if this was 2017, I would have sold partial and then I would have added more on a bear break with no follow through. But I would have had to have ensured that I was watching my phone to get on the computer to be right in position and ready to go when that break takes place. Meanwhile, I wasn't watching when this happened and I stopped out. I stopped out break even. I sell a third, 220s. I stop out, fees included, right near the low. They got me right near that low. And I'm perfectly okay with that because I accepted that, my number one priority is don't lose any money on this trade. Worst case scenario, break even. And that's fine. But again, it's just the difference. If you're in aggressive mode, it requires a ton more time and effort and attention. And then, we bear break, I add back what I sold, I sell partial. It's just much more activity, much more orders. That's how I racked up $600,000 in fees on Coinbase in a 4-year window, 2017 to 2021, because there was massive volatility, but I was very actively trading it. And it was worth those fees to capitalize on that volatility, but it all depends on where you're at. Are you trying to change your life and utilize, again, you're not in year 1 or 2 trying to change your life. You're in year 4 or 5 trying to change your life and utilize the skills and the lessons that you've learned along the way. Because if you're in year 1 or 2, you have to make all the mistakes. So now what on XRP? So that's my little lesson. Aggressive or conservative? Whenever I'm asking a question about a trade, do I want to be aggressive or conservative? That determines what time frame am I looking at. An aggressive bull is going to look to play first 15-minute oversold. A patient bull, a conservative bull, is going to wait for 4-hour oversold for more of a swing trade mindset. And so that can help you determine what time frame should I be focusing on, how much position size should I use, and things like that. But this consolidation is very bullish for XRP at this point. Anytime you confirm a trend with no follow through, zoom out and look for a flag. So we break support and we go straight into a bounce. That's a bear break with no follow through. We've got a clear resistance, 265. Just a note, was getting my car oil changed on Wednesday. And the two dudes at the counter, one of them was trading XRP, had a funny conversation, but they said the guy who used to work there was trying to teach him how to trade and he ended up quitting, which means he did well in the bull market. But I just thought that was a little funny anecdotal story. But that's the part of the cycle we're in. Taxi drivers are talking about crypto. So let's see if weekly bull flags shape up on alts, and XRP bulls want to see the dominance chart break to a lower low. Link, V-shaped recovery to a new high. Awesome. Didn't even get weekly consolidation underway. Still a stair step. Again, best case scenario. You lose the uptrend, V-shape, get right back to those highs. So Link is a lead bull for that reason. Link BTC. What was I watching here? A monthly falling wedge? Nice. I don't know when I drew this, but that's a good sign. Monthly falling wedge on Link BTC trying to break bull. If Link's going to go back and do anything with all-time highs, we got to break that double top on the monthly. It's a long ways away. All right, so let's talk about the 4-hour back burners. When you get the sucker punch liquidation flushes, again, the sucker punch, Google chart guys, sucker punch if you want a full in-depth video about it, but it is overconfident bulls, complacency, too much leverage, and everybody on one side of the boat. And you just flush it down, and you get a cascade of stop losses and liquidations that lead to that big hard flush. And so for that reason, some altcoins nailed the 4-hour oversold for the bottom. Just going down the list here, Link So Link 4-hour oversold. Great time to buy into that continuation. Some other ones, it was Uni. Uni, 4-hour oversold. V-shaped bounce. Now we're forming probably a 12-hour equilibrium there. AVAX. Did Trump buy some of that? AVAX. Not bad. So that's where, you know, it triggers and then the liquidations take it down. Some names didn't have a good 4-hour oversold. So it's not universal. ADA, for example, you know, it triggered too soon. It triggered, and then look at the volume on that candle. That just shows you the cascade of liquidations. So again, the back burners are not necessarily a buy now. For aggressive bulls, they are a buy now signal. But just be aware that when you're in that kind of, it's the first pullback, the first significant pullback from a very significant bullish period, you got to be a bit more cautious because you just imagine, put yourself in the position, you know, of the market as a whole, you know people are over leveraged long. So you do have to be a bit cautious. Why did some names nail it? Because, you know, more bid support, less liquidations, things like that, more liquidity. If there's more liquidity, there's going to be less of that, you know, quick flash flush. Crypto stocks real quick, and then I'll start reading the chat room here. So MSTR, this tells us that, you know, again, just standard tightening. The daily time frame right now, I have no clarity here. Where's the trend? Okay, we confirm an uptrend. We lose the uptrend. We're looking for a lower high. There's no trend here. We're just chopping around sideways. So what do? I zoom out and try and find clarity. All right, 2-day time frame. So what my mind instantly does is picks out this equilibrium. I'm just viewing it like this. And I would say anything under 445 is just a lower high to continue tightening up. And you know, I have no position in MSTR. I would love to see start next week, form a lower high compared to 445, and then tighten up into the end of next week, because that then tells us, you know, the best part about an equilibrium is it's a flashing light that says, get ready, volatility's coming. And I don't have to predict the direction it's going to break. We can give favor to the bulls because of the prevailing market environment, the prevailing trends, but I can just wait and react. The tighter you get, the better follow through you'll get on a break. And so the only time I'm going to buy a break of a tightening range is when it's nice and really tight. So I hope we set a lower high and keep tightening up. But MSTR, what? Potential to get added to the NASDAQ 100? Is that later tonight? I think so. Got to keep an eye out for that. That obviously would be bullish if they are added. Coin, also just really chopping around. Look at this level. This key resistance in the 3 teens. Then you back test and hold it as support. And now we are just chopping. This is like, just imagine 2 armies in World War I digging, they've dug in their trenches on either side of the battlefield. And this is I forget what they called it, no man's land or whatever, where it's just neither side has this territory and that's what we're fighting over. It's just a big battle for the, 314 to 317. And, this side gets it, but then they lose it and get pushed back. And it's just this, I got a new chair. It's really great. It's great for my World War I analogies. We're just going back and forth over this trench, and nobody's claimed it yet. And so whoever convincingly claims this trench is going to win the next battle. And that's going to dictate whether we're looking up at 350 or whether we're looking down at 290. So it's just chopping around. And again, I made a post on Twitter recently, bull or bear. Are you bullish or bearish? Those are not the only 2 options. Do not paint yourself into a corner. Nothing in life is black and white. It's all a spectrum, and it's perfectly okay. And in fact, you should be doing this. We don't do it because it's a hit to our ego to say, I don't know. The amount of charts that I look at and say, I don't know the most likely scenario is a lot of them. And we have to do that because if we try and kid ourselves and say, well, I have to choose a direction. No, you don't. I have no idea who's going to win this battle on coin for these 3 teens. So I don't grab a position when I don't have clarity. I only take trades in positions when I see a setup where I'm confident in the most likely scenario of what's going to take place. It is okay to not know, and you have to admit that to yourself. Newer traders, it's either bull or bear. And that's how you get into a lot of trouble because there are many charts where it's neither. All right. Anything going on while I'm talking before I get to the chat room? No, not a very eventful day. I mean, when's the last time we've seen everything between 2 to 3% red or green? It's been a while. All right, I'm scrolling back. Thanks for the like, 68. That's whack. Click that button. I don't like asking for likes and shares, but it's so astoundingly impactful. People just forget to click the button. I get it. Makes me feel like I'm a beggar. Please, sir, give me some likes. Thanks, Ty. What's up, Joe? Nuance video coming. Not going to talk about RGTI. I've been talking about RGTI all week. This is a crypto stream. I don't know VALO. It's on Coinbase. Nice move. Look at that volume. Ooh, right up towards that all-time high on Coinbase. So obviously just got way overdone. Double top. I mean, that's a very clear spot for bears to protect. It's the only spot when you shoot straight up. And so they were successful in defending resistance and they broke support to say tops in for now. And now we zoom out and we're looking for a 4-hour higher low. Have we hit 15-minute oversold? Got right down close. Didn't officially hit it, but this is now a 15-minute equilibrium. And if it breaks bull, our 4-hour higher low is set. If it breaks bear, we look back to the low of 24.6. If it breaks bull, we go to the 4-hour. We say, okay, 4-hour higher low is set, and we then scout the lower high. Why would we scout a lower high as the most likely scenario? Look at our fib retracement. How much did we retrace? Over 50%, which means if it was going to be a bull flag, it would likely be like that. But because it was 50% plus, we're likely going to do that. But obviously, we got to break that tightening range bull first, set the 4-hour higher low, and then we patiently scout a 4-hour lower high and tightening range. XRP, already talked about it. Thanks, Toby. Do I think if MSTR gets added to the NASDAQ 100 tonight, it'll move the needle on BTC? Good question. I haven't thought of that. I don't think so. I don't think so. I'd love to be wrong, but I do not believe that that's a buy Bitcoin. Well, I mean, the announcement's at 8 p.m., right? So you can't buy MSTR after the announcement. I mean, maybe in that scenario, it's possible. It's worth watching for. You know, I don't have conviction whether it would be or not, but what can you do? You could say, okay, 8 p.m., I'm going to pay attention and I'm going to watch. And if there's a volume spike in a bull move and it gets added, then, you know, I know that that is indeed taking place. Joey said he typically doesn't count outside bars to set a higher low or lower high. So if you had an example, it'd be great for me to go over. But without an example, it's not going to be very coherent. I'm watching this on Sol. I drew this before we rejected from resistance. It's nice to see it's still following through. No red flags on Sol. Weekly consolidation. Simple statement. If weekly EMA 12 is support, the bulls keep full control. Anyways, to your question on Joey, it's just traders have different preferences. Just like we use different EMAs. Things are more clear for us. You know, I know some traders who don't use the 15-minute time frame. I love the 15-minute time frame for clarity in between the 5-minute and the hourly. So there's no right or wrong. It's just personal preference. Thanks for joining, Quicker. No touch does mean no touch, but I think I'm going to touch some of my no touch position this cycle. I've been a real good boy, 7.5 years. We'll see. Virtual. Just keeping those daily higher lows going, keeping that daily EMA 12 support. So anything above 135 will be a daily higher low next consolidation. Obviously, we're extended on the weekly, so again, we tell ourselves in our brain, we know weekly consolidation is inevitable and it's going to happen. And so when that happens, if I want to hold a position through weekly consolidation, knowing that a weekly higher low is the most likely scenario, I have to have a position size that allows for that. And so maybe, you know, I'm walking up a stop with the daily higher lows. Maybe I make a statement. When we see a daily candle close below daily EMA 12 for the first time in over a month, I will exit half of my long position, and the other half I will sit through weekly consolidation for an eventual higher low. But this is a really strong chart. Bulls in complete control. We're just riding. Find those EMA riders. You know, if I don't want to wait for the daily EMA 12, I want a tighter leash on my profit. I want to lock in some of these gains. It's the hourly EMA 12. We haven't closed below the hourly EMA 12 in the last 36 hours or whatever. Next time we close below hourly EMA 12, I will sell a third of my long position. These clear-cut, concrete statements are essential in trading because otherwise you're acting on your emotions. Litecoin. Unfortunately, I'm not going to look at any coins if you request 17 times. But Litecoin, what's the most likely scenario? A daily lower high. What tells us a daily lower high is shaping up? A loss of the 4-hour uptrend. Have we lost the 4-hour uptrend? Low, high of the bounce, higher low, higher high, uptrend is gained, higher low, lower high, we're tightening up, we hold support, testing the bounce high. We have a 4-hour higher low pattern, still intact. All along the way, you can mark all these if you want, but some of them stand out to me more than others. These are all the mini little higher lows along the way. So is our daily lower high being set? No. When I know the most likely scenario, Litecoin, a daily lower high is the most likely scenario. Okay, I then zoom in and look for a bearish pattern that tells me that that most likely scenario is taking shape. And so the two things that I would be looking for are either a rising wedge on the 4-hour. There isn't one forming. I'm just using this as an example. You know, if we were to shape up a 4-hour rising wedge, I would then watch that for a daily lower high or a head and shoulders. Let's say we spike up, but then we give a bunch back. I then scout a 4-hour head and shoulders for the potential daily lower high. There's no bearish pattern on the 4-hour time frame right now, but I know to be watching for it over the next couple of days. The only time the less likely scenario will take place is on unusual volume. There's no chance Litecoin can ever get back to that resistance without big bull increasing volume. In the absence of unusual volume, the most likely scenario will take place. Yep, definitely watching Sol for that weekly healthy consolidation. Min USD. ADA's biggest DEX. Do people call it DEX? I don't watch enough content. I've read the word 150,000 times. I haven't heard it said many times. Min USD. Same deal as Litecoin. So solid drop, solid bounce, 50% plus bounce retracement, scout a lower high and a tightening range is the most likely scenario. Coins like this, penny stocks, coins that are trading much less dollar volume and are much less liquid have a higher probability of the less likely scenario taking place. Why? Because this coin on average is trading, what, $75,000? Which means if I wanted to, I could get together with a few of my friends and influence this chart. That's why I have rules of things that I will trade have to be above a certain threshold of dollar volume, because I mean the chart guys chat room could shape this chart however we want. But look for a 4-hour bearish pattern to try and shape up that daily lower high for a tightening range. PO. So perfect example. This is exactly what Litecoin looked like, right? Pole has set the daily lower high. Now we scout the higher low. 4-hour time frame. Didn't have a clear bearish pattern. We just topped out and faded. But you can zoom into the 12-hour if you want for more detail. Same thing. It's just an equilibrium. The most common pattern in trading. High, low, lower high, scout the higher low. Look to tighten up and then see how the tightening range breaks. So AVAX, we looked at the back burner that worked well. Nice V-shaped bounce, didn't break resistance, but to see that much bounce retracement, definitely a win for the bulls. So now, could this be a cup and handle? I mean, this isn't a good looking cup and handle, right? You're not drinking out of that cup, but the psychology of the pattern is there. It's a bull market. It's a continuation pattern. It's a very clear lower high right at resistance. So what happens here? Why does a cup and handle have a forceful breakout? You're with the prevailing trend, number one. Number two, there's a lack of resistance. Well, there's some resistance. Generally speaking, with a cup and handle, there's a lack of resistance anywhere nearby if you get over the left and right side of the cup. But what happens here is you have bears shorting at resistance. And they rejected the price. They were successful in their shorting at resistance. And if you can then bull flag and break that level, everyone that's shorted stops out. You get some longs stopping in, and that's how you get cup and handle follow through. So if, simple statement, AVAX, if this is a 12-hour bull flag, it's the psychology of a cup and handle pattern. So we look at our retracement size and say, okay, why I love the EMA 12 is very often EMA 12 aligns with the 382 retracement. And so I can just say, all right, I don't have to pull up the fibs. If EMA 12 holds on the 12-hour, it's a 12-hour bull flag, keeping that cup and handle type of pattern in play. All right, dude. You're in timeout, Sam. If you have a lack of patience and demand things of me, I'm not going to talk to you. What's up, Daniel? I would suggest, so he's asking, he works full-time, swing trading, been following since 2017, wants to learn more about options and swing trading. I would say try it for a month. and try the chart, guys, for a month. Some people love it, and it's the best thing that they could have done with their trading career, and it's not for some people. So I'm biased. I like it a lot. I think it's extremely useful. I think the attention that we give people and the questions and the timely answering of questions is unparalleled in the space. But you got to try it. See if it fits for you. All right. I got to stop doing requests for now. I'm going to keep reading through here. I like questions about psychology, questions about the trading journey, things like that. Sol looking for the daily high or low with the weekly bull flag. Yes, so I was looking for Sol to potentially be a daily inverse head and shoulders last time around here, and it wasn't because the alts flushed. But it's the same thing. So now I'm looking for it here to be a potential inverse head and shoulders. Sol BTC, watch that monthly. It's tight. This Sol BTC needs to set a monthly high or low here, ideally, to keep tightening up. And if Sol's going to be a weekly bull flag, that would likely happen. Sol led the way, all bull market, early in the year, earlier on, and has been taking a breather longer than most alts. And it's just a rotation. Bull markets are just a rotation game. So it's time to pay attention to Sol again. Look at this back test. Resistance. Look at that wall of resistance where we topped out, get above it, back test, and hold it. Beauty. That reminds me of the healthcare sector way back when. XLV, all-time highs. Wrong spot. So all-time high resistance zone. You break above it, and you back test and hold it. This is a version of volume profile analysis. Make sure on our YouTube channel you watch Lamont's Sunday videos for this style of trading. We also have a couple webinars where he and I go over his style. I like it. I've been incorporating it more. But when you break resistance and then back test and hold it, it's a confidence builder. Silver did it. Ideally, you want to have a good memory, so you just have this catalog of charts. So you can say, I've seen this pattern before. And you just build up this catalog of experience to then draw into. Look at silver here. Silver had this wall of resistance for months and months and months. We finally break out, back test, and go. Just perfect back test. So I have in my memory an ETF, a commodity, doing the exact same thing that Sol is trying to do here. And it's a confluence of signals. It's weekly EMA 12. It's previous resistance, now support. Did we hit 12-hour oversold? Probably dipped right down to it. Yep, got right down at 12-hour oversold. Confluence of signals are great. All right, I'm catching up here. Lots of altcoins. Do we look at XLM already? That's a pretty big retracement. Certainly more than XRP. Yeah, that's 50% retracement. A bit more than bulls want to see. So this was a daily equilibrium. high, higher low, lower high, higher low, lower high, bear break. Got to regain it. So now it's just a clear daily downtrend. So as soon as you break that equilibrium bear, now it's just a daily downtrend as your guide. Lower high, well, we'll start here. Lower high, lower low. So on the current bounce, anything under 53 is just a lower high. We've got to shape up a bullish pattern for a trend change, whether that's an inverse head and shoulders, whether that's a falling wedge. If we're going to see a weekly high or low set, the daily chart needs to show us the downtrend is changing back to an uptrend. Long-term portfolio, monthly time frame. How much potential do altcoins have? So again, if the dominance chart confirms a weekly downtrend, we get another leg up, very likely. I believe in this cycle, I've said it before, and this costs me views and clicks because I'm not your moon boy. I believe there will be tons of altcoins that do not hit all-time highs in this cycle. Newer coins with less previous price resistance, more likely to hit all-time highs. But like, I'm just going off the top of my head to look for some examples. I mean, ADA can get there. 200% isn't massive from here, but there's some coins that need 500% from where we stand. And in my opinion, we are far enough into this bull cycle that, another 500% on some of these altcoins is not going to happen. SHIB, is SHIB going back to an all-time high? I don't think so. Not this cycle. 210, it's possible. There's so many of these coins that I just don't think are going to see it. DOT, is DOT going back? 500%. I don't think so. I don't think DOT hits an all-time high in this cycle. Again, I would love to be wrong. And I definitely err on the side of caution. When everyone is bearish, I try and play devil's advocate to both sides just to try and spur people into getting out of their echo chamber a little bit, both directions. Anytime I see the market all leaning one way, I say, hey, but what about this? Don't forget, gotta protect, things like that. And again, just with the amount of people that are expecting, life-changing gains in these altcoins again, I just don't think so. I'm not currently trading any meme coins. Just looked at Litecoin. Yep, ADA and XRP. Nice to see the catch up. What indicators am I looking for long-term no-touch position for selling? I would something where I say this is stupid in terms of the amount of euphoria. So like just looking at this Bitcoin weekly chart, Bitcoin goes up from here 125,000 plus with no weekly consolidation, I will feel good about taking partial, maybe I sell 20% of my long-term no-touch position. And then I can always reload it during weekly consolidation. I do not have any fear about leaving money on the table because, again, and I understand when I'm talking to the majority of you in the viewing audience that we're at different points in the sense that, if I don't make another dollar in markets for the next 5 years, I'm good. Like, that's fine. And so, I'm in lock it in mode. And I understand most people are not at that point where they're trying for these gains and they're trying to level up. So, I won't ever speak with what I'm doing in my experience and apply it to everybody. This is what you should be doing, because obviously that's you can't apply an individual's scenario status to everybody else. But just know that that's where I'm at, where, again, what we've seen since 2008 is not normal in markets with the money printing. And Again, I am fine leaving money on the table, having far, I set a goal when I became a trader, or when I was, on the verge of going full time, and that was my goal. I want to make X dollars a year, and I have made, you know, 35, 40 years worth of gains in the last 10 years. And so I don't have this insatiable drive for more, 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 more. I'm at the point where I'm good. And so just know that anything that I say is coming from that standpoint. And I would rather leave money on the table and miss another leg up where you all get rich, versus giving back, a third of my open position capital across all markets. Next best swing entry is ideally looking for the higher lows. If you miss this move, let's just use Litecoin as an example. Darn, I missed this move. I'm looking for the daily higher low. And I have a stop to go off of, because if we break that low, my thesis is invalidated and things are weakening more significantly than I would like to see. But it's nice to have support levels to be going off of to make those clear theses. Tyree, I'm glad you bought your wife a car, but I have a pet peeve about buying new cars. It's just the antithesis, is that the right word, of just capital destruction, depreciating asset instantly. I will never buy a new car in my life. I could have $100 million. I would not buy a new car. Give me the 2-year-old car so I don't eat that instant minus 15% the minute I drive it off the lot. But anyways, congrats on your gains. And that was nice of you to get your wife a present. Videos of my property. Look at the hurricane video that I posted, because my yard is a mess. Just before this live stream, I was out chainsawing and chopping wood. I've been chainsawing trees and chopping wood for 2 months at this point, and I've got a lot more to do. The yard got messed up big time. It'll be fine. Garden fence got smashed. Honestly, I just got sick of carrying my phone around and filming videos. I'm very much not a content creator. I do my best because I do enjoy it sometimes, but that's where we stand. It's also winter. There's not much going on in the yard. Before this stream, I was sitting out on my porch and just watching all the birds come to bed. I haven't done that before. And I got bushes all around my front porch, and just seeing like, wow, 3 birds live in this bush, and then 2 birds in this bush, and the cardinals are over here. And it was just cool to see they're all talking and chatting loudly. But that's the first time I've ever saw them all go to bed and see where they live. Can I tell you how psilocybin helped me become a better trader? I have an entire 45-minute webinar. That's what I was talking about and referring you to. Look up Chart Guy's secret weapon. Chart Guy's secret. Chart Guy's secret. I did an entire webinar on the topic. Pretty much anything that I ever talk about in any of these live streams. Again, we've been making content for 10 years. I've made thousands and thousands and thousands of videos. And so anything that I talk about, I've got a video that is talking about it in depth. So you could watch a live stream of mine and just write down stuff you don't know and find a 20 to 40 minute video specifically about that topic for everything. How long did it take me to make it in trading? I did not know that it was made. I knew that, well, okay. 4 years in, I knew I could do it for the rest of my life. 5 years in is when I consistently started hitting flow state. Again, I've got a whole webinar about it. Look up chart guys roadmap. Looks like let's see, chart guys. Hold on, this is a good one. That's the problem when you have so many videos, is remembering all of them. Playlists. Go to our playlists. Market psychology and trading lifestyle, tons, lessons and more, tons of content. Shut up. Bear with me here. Addressing bad trading habits, guardrails for better risk management, trading lessons learned in 2023, balancing scales. I mean, it's just, there's so much. You have an entire college course of trading education on our YouTube channel for free. What are we talking about? Trading roadmap. What's it called? Trading roadmap. All right, I'm not going to put much. There it is. Trading education roadmap. Thanks, Stephen. Backtesting is referring to testing previous resistance as support, or vice versa. Awesome, Nathan. Glad to help. Most common trading mistake I observed people making is not using stop losses. Anonymous. Forget this is a career, not a race. I take it as I'm paying tuition fees when I'm losing money. Absolutely. Every single, people ask me, what would you go back and change in your trading career if you could? What would you go back and tell yourself back then? Nothing. Every single mistake that I made, every dollar that I lost led to making more and being better in the future because I had to learn the mistakes. So if you take away the mistakes to learn from them, I would just make those mistakes with bigger capital in the future. The only reason I smashed crypto 2017 is because I made all the mistakes trading penny stocks before I ever touched crypto. So I'm rare in the sense that I have never blown a crypto bull cycle because I did it in other markets. Most people got into the trading game through crypto. You got to blow it one of the cycles to learn those lessons. I love these questions because I just have a video on every single one. How do you start your trading day after you wake up? Chart guys, day in life. A typical day with a full-time day trader. Morning routine of a day. We got multiple. That's a good one. This one is. Why so much crypto videos? I don't think it's that much. Twice a week. So what's an indicator that a coin has a good chance of a lack of price history? newer coins, if they are in favor, I mean, SUI, I don't know anything about this coin. But look at its history. When did it start trading? 2023. Well, on Coinbase. I'm sure there's longer history somewhere else. But, I mean, you're at all-time highs real quick here. So there is some, why does that matter? Well, you got to figure, number one, you've got, if you're an older coin, you've got a ton of bag holders that are going to sell when they get back to break even or small green. Number two, you've got potential dilution depending on the coin and the project. If back in 2017, now there's 50% more supply than there was back then, it's that much harder to get back to those price levels. If you got twice as much supply of the coin, a $10 level now is the same market cap as $20 back then. What do I think about an extended cycle? I'm more of the tune of again, you look at the NASDAQ and you look at the returns that the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ have given in the last 2 years, and it's just not a sustainable move up. I mean, we're just used, in my entire trading career, the markets just go straight up because I've been trading from here onward. But I know that that's not how markets work in terms of zooming out and talking about a 50-year window instead of a 10-year window. So I'm just cautious in this market environment. And again, the last few years have been so great in terms of the gains. I would rather miss 40% more to the upside than give 40% back. I don't think Hood is much. I mean, obviously Hood is a crypto play just because there's not a ton of crypto plays out there. But, if you're looking for a crypto play, coin, MSTR, miners, etc., definitely more pure in that regard. I'd just be treating Hood like a brokerage that has crypto exposure, obviously. So do you feel Gensler stepping down and Trump coming in? I mean, a lot of what the markets are doing since, the last 5 weeks is pricing in a shift in the administration. So just be aware markets are forward looking. And, the reason that Bitcoin just went 70 to 100 in a blink is because it is pricing in the Trump administration. Is it fully priced in? I'm not saying that, but that is why we just ran so hard and so fast. Because it is pricing in the future. So just be aware of that. Hey, I got $1. Thanks, DP. Thanks, White Afghan. See, I appreciate the suggestion. Get a hands-free attachment like the phone holder that goes around your neck. I would rather throw up than be out in nature with technology hooked up so I can get good footage. It's just so against my personality and it's just so gross. But I appreciate the suggestion. If you told me 10 years ago, hey, you're going to be making social media content constantly, I'd say no chance. The only reason I'm doing it is because it combined with a passion of trading in markets. How do you make a long entry in an equilibrium? You zoom in to the shorter term time frames and look for trend changes. If I'm looking at a 15-minute equilibrium, which happens all the time in stock market mornings, I then am looking for Tesla did it yesterday maybe? I then am looking for no examples, but if I'm looking for a 15-minute higher low in an equilibrium, I'm on the 2-minute time frame. This is why we have to know how these different time frames relationships relate to each other. The 2-minute with the 15-minute, the 5-minute with the hourly with the daily with stocks, the 4-hour with the daily with commodities and crypto. These relationships are important because it tells you which time frame to look at. If a 15-minute higher low is most likely, I'm on the 2-minute, I'm watching the 2-minute downtrend, and I'm looking for a falling wedge, an inverse head and shoulders, or something that's showing me a 2-minute trend change, changing back to the bulls, because that's the first indication that a 15-minute higher low is being set. So you determine the most likely scenario zoomed out, and then you zoom in to the relevant time frame and look for the clues to pinpoint your entry on that time frame. All right, I gotta wrap up here. We're over an hour. I gotta eat some food. Gold and the dollar, historical inverse relationship, yes. Semiconductors, inverse to the financial sector, that's newer. I've been talking about that all the time the last 2 years, but yes. I don't have one with Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin and the metals were somewhat inverse. Bitcoin consolidated. Gold was in a 9-month stair step, blue sky breakout. Gold tops out when Bitcoin made its most recent leg up. Little bit inverse, but not a good one like those historical ones that you just mentioned. I loved Oregon. Had a great time. You're going to enjoy it as well. Although maybe not the winter. New is different than brand new. Glad to hear it for the car. Thanks, Raul. All right. Tyree, advice changed your life. Learning about the charts. I appreciate that a lot. That's my motivation. You want to keep me making content and doing live streams like this? Share stuff like that. It's the feel goods that I'm here for. And the $1 tips. Okay, no snow. We don't get snow in Western North Carolina. I mean, we'll get it 2 inches once or twice a year, and everybody freaks out. All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate the likes. Nice to hang out on a Friday evening. I'm gonna go feast somewhere. And I hope you have a great weekend. Don't forget to do good things.